stop me now. Yeah, 'cause I'm just beginning, can't stop me now.
Welcome to Boundless. I am your host, Grover Silcox. Boundless, where we give voice to Good Shepherd Rehabilitation's patients and their families. You'll hear the compelling real-life stories of folks who have braved the trials, triumphs, and tribulations of rehabilitation and the boundless possibilities that lie on the other side of that journey. Please welcome our guest, Bob Flicker. Bob seems like a fellow who plans his work and works his plan, a guy who lives a steady and fulfilling life. He graduated from Moravian College, now university, with a degree in physics. He later went on to get a master's at Lehigh University. He landed a job at East Penn Manufacturing and served the company for 50 years before retiring. But in 2018, Bob's well-planned life turned upside down when he suffered a stroke. Bob, welcome to the show. Take it from there. What happened afterwards? What was your life like before the stroke, and then how did it impact your life going forward?
Well, before the stroke, I considered myself to be pretty active. Obviously, where I was working, I was involved in a lot of activities there. But even outside of work, I loved to hunt, I loved to fish, I liked to hike. I liked to do a lot of traveling and things of that time. So having a stroke really kind of put the lid on some of that right away real quick.
Right.
So it was a big adjustment to that at that time.
Now, when did you have the stroke?
I had that in November 4th of 2018. I was up at our cabin. I was going to enjoy the week up in the woods in the wilderness, and I felt a stroke coming on. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I ask, what was that feeling like? And did you identify it as a stroke?
Yeah, it was a weird feeling because I had been doing some work around the cabin, and I was hanging some things up. My left arm just dropped. I go, whoa, that's weird. And then pretty soon I felt my left side leg giving out, and I knew it was a stroke. Excuse me. So I called my son. And I said, hey, he thought I fell. I said, no, I'm having a stroke. I said, the important thing is remember the time. Well, needless to say, it didn't matter because it was a hemorrhagic stroke, not a clot. So I had a hemorrhagic stroke in the basal ganglia area.
Right. So, wow.
Yeah.
And how old were you at the time, Bob?
I would have been just about 70 years old.
God,
Yeah,
you're 74
69.
now, right?
Yeah, 74, soon to be 75. But it was quite a shocker for me because, again, I was very active in the company. I loved what I was doing. I loved my life at the time, even though I had lost a wife earlier. But I still enjoyed what I was doing in all the areas. So I knew I was up for a big adjustment.
Right.
Life adjustment.
Yeah. And tell me about your family at the time and how they supported you.
Well, everybody was truly great. You know, the kids came up when I was still in the hospital up in Salem, up north.
Right.
They
Your
came,
adult children, how many are
I
they?
have 3, a son and 2 daughters, and they came up and they helped actually get this whole organized for me to be transferred down to Good Shepherd and all of that. And it was again, the love and the support that they gave me and all my friends was tremendous.
Right.
Important, because at that time, you just have all this uncertainty of what's going to happen to you. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And so you wound up in the hospital.
Right.
And what brought you to Good Shepherd?
Well, like I said, I was up north at my cabin, and I went to Sayre to the hospital up there.
Okay.
Golf 3, I think is the network. And we were looking for a place for me to be, and my friends, our family, and I knew a lot of people who had gone to Good Shepherd for a rehab after a stroke. Right. So it was very simple choice for us because it's local. We live locally, but it was also its reputation for good care.
So reputation and access.
Access, exactly.
And
right.
kind of lucky that it was there.
Oh, yeah.
In this time of need.
Very important that it was here and available to me, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happens? You go to Good Shepherd. What was your condition like at the time, and how did they engage you? How did they approach the issue?
Yeah, and I basically came in on a gurney, because I was transported from a hospital.
Right.
gave me a once over to check, give me a quick check. And I remember I started looking at Dr. Daly, who was the doctor admitting me at the time. And I said, do you think you can help me? He says, if we didn't think we could help you, you wouldn't be admitted to the hospital.
Oh, that's what you wanted
So
to hear.
I wanted to hear that.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want to be where I was. I didn't know if I'd ever recover to 100%, but I knew I didn't want to be bedridden the whole time, and I wasn't as it is now. Yeah.
Right. Did they put a plan together for you?
Yeah, it was pretty much. I mean, I think the first day I got here, well, it was in the evening, so they gave me a night off so I could sleep. But the next morning, it was already going to therapy, already being evaluated by the doctors, by the therapists, and getting a baseline, which is very important for me. I like to have a measurable so I know where I'm at and where I'm going.
Right. That's a natural for you because you're a scientist.
It's a science. So it's a science of the thing, So I began to get an outline of what the plan was going to be with the various PTOP speech therapists, and also volunteered to do. No, I'll say volunteered. They had available rec therapy, so I figured I'm taking advantage of everything they could give me. So I did that as well. So, and I think that's an encouraging part too. They have a lot of opportunities to participate, even beyond your other therapy. Even if you want to go down extra to the gym and do some workout while you're in the hospital, they would allow that. So, but they were very good, very careful, very encouraging, and you need that during that period of time.
I was going to ask, people might not understand if they haven't been in rehab, depending on what their situation is, but that it's work, and there are hurdles, and the care team is there to encourage you, guide you, show you what to do, get you on the right track, and get you to where you need to be.
Right, exactly. And then they have meetings, team meetings, throughout the week, and they measure your progress against, where they felt you needed to be. And it was a very dynamic process. It was sort of like, okay, you could do that now. Next time we'll do 10 more. And next time we're going to do 15 more. Are you tired? Yeah. Okay, well, you could do 5 more next time then. So it's kind of, and I personally felt that challenge was important.
Right.
And
they're like the most loving drill instructors. Right?
Oh, my God, they love you so much, but you better do what they tell you. No, I'm just,
well, they want you to succeed.
No, but I think that's exactly right. I don't want to sound that they were very, very caring, very understanding, but they also knew that for you to get better, to get on your feet again, you couldn't give up. You had to keep working.
Right.
And it was fun. I enjoyed, therapy was fun.
Wow.
I guess.
Well, being a scientist, you're a person who likes to collect information and then understand what it means. So how was Good Shepherd in terms of communicating?
Real well, and I think they knew that I was that kind of a character. They know the personality. So I always would like, okay, well, how did I measure on that particular thing? Whether it's measuring how far I can move an arm, or how far I could move my leg, or how much pressure I can put on when I grip. I like to know that I'm making progress or that I'm moving forward. And if I don't, I want to know what we can do or why that happened. And I think that's important also, because sometimes the measurable may drop off a little bit. You get disappointed, and they're very good at making sure you don't get disappointed.
Right.
We need to adjust.
Morale.
Very, very good on that, keeping you very high in morale.
Right.
But they also want you to know that you can continue to do things, so they will adapt to the change. And I think that's important to get you on their feet, not in the hospital.
Right. And your goals were to what? Get walking again without a wheelchair, with an assistive device?
Right.
And as far as you could go?
As far as I can go right now, So right now I'm walking with an assistive device. I'm not on a wheelchair anymore, which is really great. I can drive again.
Wow.
I get around, So that's a degree of freedom that was very important to me.
Return some of that control that you lost.
Yeah, exactly. So I can go in, attend meetings and whatever I need to do yet, things I'm involved with and boards and stuff like that.
Right.
And, even do a little bit of fishing, albeit not quite the same as I used to do, but I still got out and do a little hunting and fishing right now again.
Wow. I mean, early on, you must have thought, am I ever going to do this
I
stuff
never
again?
thought I would.
Yeah.
It was very touching. My son was very good, and my children at making sure I can get out and do that. And I have a girlfriend. She's also very helpful with me, and really let me experience those things again, which is very good.
You know, it's when you get into these situations that someone like yourself who plans everything out, right? You're a
Right.
scientist, and that's
Oh,
the way your
yeah.
mind works.
Yeah.
And then when these kinds of things happen, you realize just how important family is. Not that you didn't beforehand, you certainly did,
Right,
but
right.
wow, when they have your back, and then those friends, you know who the friends are now
Right.
because they're there.
Right. Yeah, the family and friends volunteered to bring me in because earlier I could not drive, so when I came in to do outpatient therapy, that was a real challenge. Okay, who's to bring me in here? Who's going to do it and all that? And
Right.
I had friends volunteer to bring me in. My family took turns, whatever they needed to do
Right. And after 50 years, I'm sure East Penn, you had a lot of friends and still do have a lot of
there were
friends
some
there.
very good, dear friends of mine that were very helpful during that period of time as well. Yeah, so which is good, but I appreciate everything they did for me and thank them all. So
And the other thing, which is important to everyone, but you're a man who depended on your mind
Yes.
and your knowledge, and that wasn't affected.
yeah, I was really fortunate on that I that I was not affected in that sense. A little bit of speech early on, but about 3 weeks I was discharged from speech therapy.
Right.
But my mind was still with me, so I could, could still participate in activities and work a few more years, but also involved with, like, Moravian University. I'm on the board of trustees there as well.
Oh, your alma mater.
So I could participate in some of those. I continue to participate, albeit through Zoom meetings, but then with COVID, it didn't matter anyway.
Right.
But I could still participate in those events.
Yeah.
So that also, I think, was very important, that you were able to continue to have the mind not get in a fog.
Right. And I think you said before we went on the air that you're currently on the board at East Penn as
Yes,
well.
that's correct.
That's like 10 hours a week.
Yeah, something like that, a rough time. It depends on the week, but yeah, and that's great because it gives me a chance to still be in touch with some of my friends that are there and also meet some of the new dynamic young people that are involved with the organization.
Right. And as much as you appreciate it, I can imagine that your wealth of knowledge, after all of those years and your smarts and your education, can really, be a great advantage to the company as a board member now.
Well, like I say, I'm a little bit of the historian now. Like this is why we did it, but don't do it just because we did it that way. I also believe that we always got to continuously improve. And it's exciting to listen to what some of the young people are doing in these organizations now as well. So
Your children
it's
must
fun.
be, and friends must be thrilled at your progress.
Well, I think they all are. I think we still hope we're going to get a little bit more.
Yep.
And I'm still focused on it as a non-patient now. We're continuing to work hard there.
Right. You still do some therapy there?
I do 2 Mondays and Fridays. I do therapy, OT and PT, physical therapy, occupational therapy. And I also take advantage of the other facilities at Good Shepherd, which are the pool. They have a pool, so I do aqua therapy one day.
That's really helpful, isn't
Oh,
it?
that's helpful. I like it because it gives you some flexibility because of the buoyancy in your body, but also helps you build strength. So walking in the resistance in the water and so forth. And then I come in on Thursdays and I work out in the gym a little bit, do a little stretching, and so that, they have a lot of opportunities to continue to do things to help you along. But the staff continues to be supportive, and the therapists I have are all very, very helpful, and I'm blessed to have them all here in this area.
That's
So,
great. And
yeah.
it's remarkable that as a physicist, all that rehabilitation requires physics.
It's all about physics, and I keep reminding them the reason they're physical therapists is because it's physics, So, and we laugh about that, but even the exercising and the things you do, it's a lot about physics. So I try to teach a little bit of physics while I'm in therapy for them as well.
Well, that's an amazing story you have, Bob. And it's one of inspiration because you're doing so well that for folks who may be facing this journey for the first time, hearing your story will give them that spark that they need to start it and go at it and finish it and reach the goals that they're aiming for.
And I think the other thing that's important too, and I think it's important, is that the patients talk to each other too, because there's some gentlemen might be a little further along in their travels, maybe a year or two further into it. So it gives you the ability to say, hey, I'm not that different. I'm not that far away, because they'll tell you right away every stroke is different, and they all are. No question about it. But how you react, how you keep plugging away at it, and how they adapt to the different things as your body wakes up after a stroke.
Right.
It's because I've been on this thing now for several years, and as my body, the left side, maybe a year and a half ago, I couldn't feel the bottom of my foot. I can feel the bottom of my foot. Now, that's not always good, because sometimes it gets kind of funny feelings. But your body grows and changes.
Right.
And
Your brain is plastic, has that plasticity. It can change.
Right.
And it can improve.
And as that happens, you have to modify your exercise and your therapy. So.
And that's why you have the team behind you to help you do
have
that.
The team, and again, it's a two-way street, and information back and forth that help the therapist, to have therapists help you, and I'm blessed to have some great physical therapists. And,
Gotcha. Well, Bob, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It's really a story of hope and inspiration and continued success, my friend.
You bet. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, that's our show. Check in next time for another episode of Boundless and more personal stories like Bob's of perseverance, health, and wellness from Good Shepherd Rehabilitation. I'm your host, Grover Silcox, saying thanks for stopping by. We appreciate your support.